Hey guys, William Murphy here and welcome back to part 3 of rebuilding Mr. Alex Toon's Classic Mini. This is a 1275 Mini Sprite automatic and in the last episode I removed the cylinder head. I had a few little glitches with trying to get this head off because it got stuck on the front middle stud, which deemed to be a bit of a pain, but it's off and it's now time to look into rebuilding this head. So let's get stuck in. So we've got the cylinder head here, and the gasket is actually still on there. And you can see actually the gasket itself is in pretty good condition. It's quite thin in between 2 and 3, but it seems to have sort of not broken anywhere and not been had any sort of signs of damage, which is fantastic. I'll just take this washer off as well. So today the plan is to clean up the cylinder head, the surface of it, remove the 8 valves and then clean the valves up and reinsert the valves. Remove this old exhaust gasket, which probably come off pretty easy, and then have a look at what we have in the boot ready to go back on this car. So that is like that as well. Had a slight exhaust blow from this centre exhaust flange here and a bit up here as well. So good job this is getting replaced. So yeah, let's get stuck in. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is to clean up the rest of the valves. I've cleaned up 1 valve so far, so I've got 7 more to go. Once they're all cleaned, then I can start lapping the valves. It's going to be a bit of a long, drawn-out process, so I'm not going to film the whole thing. So this is the valve I've done and cleaned up, which you probably won't be able to see very well. Let's see if you can come in a little bit. So yeah, this is the valve I've already cleaned. Hopefully you can sort of see that there's no real carbon on there, and obviously this is what they look like beforehand. So I need to try and get rid of all that black and clean up the face of it as best as I can. And then the inlet valves, they've got a much flatter, thicker surface on the front, and yeah, there's lots of sort of wet, fuel-y smelling carbon as well. So yes, need to clean up all of them. And I can lap the valves in. I've just had a go at the first valve, and hopefully this light was going to work. So I've cleaned the cylinder head with a blade, trying to get rid of all the old gasket. I've then used some 1500 grit paper just to sort of get rid of any last bits and go over it again with a blade. It's all nice and smooth. So this very far end, I have just lapped the valve in off camera just to make sure I'm happy with everything that's going. And yeah, there's a nice seat on there now. It's a nice clean cut face. So I'm going to continue doing the other 7 once their valves are cleaned, and hopefully this should be done and dusted by the end of tomorrow. So that's an update of where I'm up to with the cylinder head. It is going quite to plan so far. I've still got to clean up the block over in the engine bay, but that should just be a quite simple case of taking the knife blade, going across, taking a straight edge and making sure it's straight. The other thing I did do off camera was go from point to point diagonally across, going straight across 3 points, and then going across the left to right, across the middle, across the middle, across the bottom and across the top. And this cylinder head is nice and flat, which is fantastic news. So yeah, it's all coming together. I guess less talk and I'll just crack on with this, and I'll come back to you once I've cleaned up all these valves. Stay tuned. Okay, so the valves are all cleaned up, as you can see here, and now I'm just going to use this grinding and cutting compounds and put it onto the actual seat of the valve. I've got a fine and a coarse, so I've just done the coarse side. I'm going to do the fine. Plonk that back into there. Put that in there. And I'm using the drill. You can hopefully see there's a nice clean thread or a nice clean edge all the way around here, and that's the same on the inside of that cylinder head. So that is a good valve. So I've done the first 2 valves now, which I'm happy about, and then they can then continue to go through. So this is the next valve to do, and it's a bit dirty in comparison. That's quite shiny, and this is quite well, this hasn't been done yet. Not quite sure how well that's coming out. We'll move on to cylinder 3. Okay, so the first of the new parts is going to be these valve stem seals. You can see they are like a brown in colour. Now these are specifically for the MPIs. So yeah, I'm going to be fitting these onto the car because they are much better quality. They're quite a lot stronger, and they've been recommended to us by Paul Jeffries, who is a performance engine builder. So if they're good enough for these engines, they're good enough for this. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. The battery light on the camera is flashing, so I think it's time to call it a day. The valves are in, the springs are all together, the collets are all fitted, and the cylinder head is now clean. Next stage in the process is to clean up the block, but I'm going to call it a night because it's getting late and I'm tired. So I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you have, please remember to click that thumbs up button, comment down below, and if you can, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. So in the next episode, we are going to be cleaning up the block, fitting the cylinder head to the block, and hopefully getting everything connected back up, ready for that first start. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.